Say it ain't so, Joe. Former Vice President Joe Biden facing backlash after turning touching allegations into a joke.
I just want you to know I had permission to hug Lonnie.
Now, some say lighten up. Others say he just took his primary chances down. We're on it. And President Donald Trump making a renewed push for border security at a renewed section of the wall. But is the wall of opposition from Democrats going to win out? We've got you covered from all sides on this side of the border. And first, the Mueller report. Now House Democrats are demanding the release of Trump's tax returns, but to voters want to return to something else, like their business. Pollster Frank Luntz will tell us. Cavuto Live starts right now. Well, critics say former Vice President Joe Biden botched it, and now President Donald Trump is getting in on it. Are we already seeing the makings of the 2020 race? Good morning, everybody. I'm David Asman in for Neil Cavuto. Let's turn to our political panel for answers. We have Noelle Nikpour. She's a Republican strategist, Democrat strategist, Antjuan Seawright, and Fox News contributor Kat Timpf. Kat, let me start with you. I'm wondering, everybody's saying, you know, Joe Biden is a seasoned political operator. He knows how to deal with people. But I'm wondering if he has the patience and the stamina to deal with somebody like Donald Trump. What do you think?
Right. Well, he is a seasoned operator for sure. He has the experience, but at the same time, he has a lot of experience with things coming out of his mouth that maybe afterwards he wishes didn't necessarily come out of his mouth. And I don't know if we can all agree on anything, but we can probably agree that that would be something that Donald Trump would probably pounce on, right? I think that it would be a very interesting race because, as we were talking about in the break, they have threatened to beat each other up before. So I don't know if instead of a debate, they could just do an MMA-style thing, let the 270-somethings go at it. I mean, who knows what? So much has happened already that I don't even know where it could go at this point.
And Noelle, nobody knows how to get under your skin like Donald Trump. He finds the weakness, and then he comes up with a nasty nickname for it, or he finds some way of baiting that weakness. And in the case of Joe Biden, again, as seasoned as he is, some people say he's still a little thin-skinned when it comes to personal attacks.
Not only is he thin-skinned, but you know, he has a quick temper, just like Trump. And I agree with Kat. I think that these two guys would put on quite a show, you know, from both parties. I think that Joe is not going to take anything. He's not going to take anything from Trump. Trump for sure has proven he's not going to take anything from anyone, especially Joe Biden.
All right, let's take a look. And I saw Antjuan going no when I said thin skin, but let me just show a little bit of what happened yesterday when Joe Biden tried to make light of these problems that he's had with women and touching. Take a look.
I just want you to know I had permission to hug Lonnie. We had permission. I don't know, man. By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
Antjuan, was that smart?
I don't know. Look, the worst thing Joe Biden can do is get away from himself. And while he has apologized and acknowledged the fact that he made a mistake and he needs to make adjustments going forward, I don't know what else people want him to do. And for the people who are criticizing him, those people are going to find something to criticize him for something else, right?
But some Democrats have already criticized him for what happened yesterday. Donna Brazile, for example, said this was a big mistake.
I'm not minimizing the fact that these women felt a sense of uncomfortability.
Understood, but did he make a mistake yesterday?
I don't think so. I think he did what he felt like was in the moment, and but he apologized if he offended some people. But let me say this.
Sure.
The fact that you have people who are jumping on this train trying to criticize Joe Biden, he wasn't accused of sexual assault, unlike the man who occupies the White House. 23 women accused the president of sexual assault, and he joked about it. And so we have to be able to have a real distinction between the two.
I do agree with what you said about Joe Biden and having this a little lighthearted. I mean, it's all out there. He's done an apology on it, and I think making light of it kind of breaks the ice a little bit. I mean, it's a very serious subject, and I think that by Joe Biden coming out, I don't think that hurt for him to make a little
Of course,
slide.
you know, Antjuan just mentioned Trump's problems with women. If you have Biden running, it's going to be a lot tougher for Democrats to focus on Trump's relations with women with Biden.
Well, no, is totally
I don't
different.
think so, because
Sexual assault and touching is different. Let's be clear.
I agree. I agree that sexual assault and hugging too long are very different things. I think that everybody can agree on that. But I still think that Trump still isn't afraid to hit him on it. He hit him on it, regardless of the fact that he's faced his own accusations when he was campaigning. So I thought that was an interesting move. But Democrats have made it really tough because they set the standard really, really, really high when it comes to this, like where it's not just a long hug. People talk about it like it is on par with something like sexual assault, which I personally find to be ridiculous, but that's not the standard that I've set. That's the standard that many in your party have set.
Let me say this. Joe Biden came up in the era, and this is the era, this is how I was taught to do politics, as a retail politician.
And so
when you go into a barbershop, because that's retail politics, you dap the men up. Right. When you go into a hair salon, you hug the women. Nowadays, retail politics has evolved to taking selfies. So what happens now? If I want to take a selfie with Noelle and I do this, do I have to ask permission? So
but Antjuan, you have to admit that it would be easier for Democrats to hit Trump on the women issue if there was a woman running as the nominee.
Yep.
Well, I think
rather than Biden.
I don't agree. I don't agree. But I want to make one point just earlier because I think this is important. When it comes to experience, Trump wants to have a personality battle, and Biden is the one of very few in our party running for the nomination who can have a policy about it.
Well, let's talk about policy.
That's so important.
And the problem that Biden or any Democrat would have is the economy. The economy right now is still going well. We have the lowest unemployment numbers in history.
And you're right. When the numbers came out yesterday, you have to look at that and what is going to be the argument. I think that is why a lot of the Democrats are having to find some catchphrases like free college or redoing the electoral system. You've got to find something because the numbers, you can't go away from the numbers. You may not like Trump, you may not like the personality, but the numbers you can't get away from.
I want to remind
Okay, hold on a second. I want to get Kat on this because, again, for the first time in my lifetime, and I'm not a very young guy. I'm not,
late 20s, right?
Late 20s,
late
yeah.
20s.
But for the first time in my life, you still have more jobs and you have people looking for jobs. That's one of the reasons all these immigrants are coming here, because we have all these jobs right now. So, I mean, how do Democrats argue that the economy is bad enough that it would require a socialist solution for some of these problems?
It's interesting because a lot of people, no matter how well things are going, they might want more things. They might want free college, which I think is ridiculous because once college becomes free, then you'll just need a master's after that. It'll be kind of just like high school. But I think that is something tough for the Democrats, that the economy is doing so well. So they do try to talk about other things, like they focus on climate change, they focus on health care, they focus on, oh, Trump's such a jerk, because they can't argue with the numbers.
Listen, let's talk about numbers, right? Let's say a couple things. Number one, the Republicans want to make this argument about the economy in the midterms, and health care was the #1 issue. Make no mistake, health care will still be at the top of the charts and the top of the minds of voters in the 2020
And Republicans
election.
screwed that up.
But I think
The second point, Noelle, let me finish this point.
Quickly.
The second point is, while the economy is doing well for some, it's not doing well for all. And you can't neglect the fact, or you can't ignore the fact that people are working 2 and 3 jobs. Forget about trying to make ends meet. They're putting 2 ends together, hoping they meet. There are mothers who are working overtime to live in poverty.
Noelle, quick last word on health care. Go ahead.
Well, I think one of the smartest things that Joe Biden could do running for office is saying that he would keep the economy intact and then focus on other issues like health care, et cetera.
Okay. Ellison Barber has been standing by. He has a report for us on the latest on Joe Biden. Go ahead. Joe Biden asked yesterday if he's progressive enough to run. Here's his response.
The definition of progressive now seems to be changing. That is, are you a socialist? Well, that's a real progressive.
Then he went on to say that most Democrats are moderates, not socialists, and moderates are winning.
I went into 65, 66, 67 races on the ground. I campaigned, I think, for virtually every one of the 41 people who won. Show me the really left wingers who beat a Republican. A Republican.
So is he right or wrong? Our political panel is back. Noelle, Nikpour, Katherine Timpf, and Antjuan Seawright. Antjuan, what do you think?
Oh, I think he's spot on. Look, I was involved in 62 races during the midterms, and we won gerrymandered districts that Trump won in some places by double digits, not because we're the party of the extreme liberal policies that tend to make all the noise, but because we're a party of moderates. And what a better messenger for the middle class than Joe Biden. If you looked at his speech, or if you watched his speech, he performed like the middle class messenger-in-chief, Joe Biden.
What happens if you have a socialist who is nominated dominated as your Democratic.
We won't. And guess what? There are very few people in our primary who can pull the many corners of the Democratic Party together. Joe Biden is one of those.
Kat, go ahead.
You can't say that they don't have any influence, right? Because if you look at how popular Bernie Sanders was in the last election, not only did he, he didn't necessarily give Hillary a run for her money, but what he did do is he made her have to push left a little bit, made her feel bad about some of the Wall Street type of things.
But that's what primaries
But I'm saying, you can't say that they have no influence. You can't just say these are outliers. These are people who are influencing the party and moving the party as a whole further left.
I never said they don't have influence. What I'm saying is that moderates still kind of are the face and the long-term voice of our party. The beauty about our party is we're a very diverse party, much so, more so than the Republican Party. And so they have a place, but the moderates have a bigger place.
All right, but Noelle, it was big news yesterday that this is the first time that there has really been big pushback against the Socialist
Elizabeth Warren called it out
Party.
in her speech.
It's been called out before, but this was a definite pushback. Do you think it'll continue? Do you think that this will squeeze the Bernie Sanders of the party?
I think it needs to be, because I think that the Democrats, depending on who wins the nomination in the general, that's going to define their message. That's going to define their banner. And I think that Joe Biden, they all know in their heart, someone like a Joe Biden will bring back more normalcy to their party and to their brand.
By the way, in Donald Trump's heart, wouldn't he rather run against a socialist, given the views of the American people?
Absolutely, because a socialism party or socialism is not even economically feasible. So I mean, they're going to be running against such a great economy.
But Kat, you look at the Green New Deal,
right?
And you have virtually every Democrat. Joe Biden hasn't committed one way or the other. I think some Democrats have said that they're not for it, but virtually every Democrat running for president who has announced themselves has signed on to this. If that's not socialism, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and not only is it socialism, it's something that could never work. Nobody looks at this and says, hey, this is actually possible.
So you can't triple the budget in one shot?
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't also just get rid of all carbon emissions within 10 years. That's just not possible. So signing on to the impossible, I mean, I feel like it is an issue. We do have to do something about it, but we should focus on things that actually have solutions.
Antjuan,
People
if you
want
could
solutions.
Just hold on, because we have Mayor Pete. He is in New Hampshire right now. Let's just listen in.
Come on in. Yes,
Pete Buttigieg, he's in Concord, New Hampshire. He's kind of the rising star for the moment in the Democratic contenders. Now, Pete's one of those people who is perceived, Antjuan, as a moderate, and yet you see him signing off on some policies that could easily be called socialist.
Here's the deal about the Green New Deal. While people support the idea we have to do something about protecting our natural resources and being a cleaner and greener country, I don't think from a policy standpoint, pound for pound, people agree with AOC's Green New Deal, hence why you saw the vote the way it went down. And when you talk about socialism, Pelosi stood up during Trump's speech to the American people when he said America will never be a socialist country. You've had candidates like Elizabeth Warren who said she's not a socialist.
Well, tell me what's wrong.
Semantics to some point, too, because also you have people supporting Medicare for all, which, let's be real, is socialized health care. So they might not call themselves a socialist, but these kind of policies are becoming more popular in the Democratic Party.
You have some, but you also hear leadership within our party said that we will evolve to making sure we expand health care opportunities, not necessarily Medicare for all. And
multiple presidential candidates specifically have said eliminate private health insurance.
Noelle, the primary serves as an opportunity. The primary serves as an opportunity to have robust discussions in our primary, a marketplace for ideas, and when we get a nominee, I think you'll see some collapse happen, and you'll see a real flushed-out platform.
Having robust discussions right here. I want to ask about the Republican response to the Green New Deal, because other than calling it a socialist idea, and frankly, you don't triple the budget without being a socialist country.
By the way, I'm not a fan. So.
I understand. Antjuan is on the record. He's not a fan of the Green New Deal. But there was an alternate offered this week by a Republican, by Matt Gaetz.
In Florida.
He said that he called out climate change as something real that has to be addressed by Republicans. What do you think of that? Is that a mistake, or is it on the right track?
It's not a mistake. It starts a conversation. It's a conversation conversation that shouldn't be taboo for Republicans to have. And I think that, if done responsibly, I think that there is a place for some sort of policy with environmental issues.
Last word, is there?
I agree. I absolutely agree. And AOC was able to say for a long time, well, no one else is saying anything. At least I'm starting a discussion. Can't say that anymore.
So why criticize her discussion? Look, her discussion served as a conversational starter. Again, and pound for pound, I think is not well.
But Antjuan is not for the Green New Deal. Just want to put it out there once again. Make it absolutely clear.
I'm for something.
All right. We all like clean air. That's a good thing. All right. Democrats doubling down on investigating President Trump, from demanding his tax returns to subpoenaing the full Mueller report. Frank Luntz just told us the public has had enough with all this. Is he right or is he wrong?